we're talking about running a business and homeschooling. So let's talk about it. So a few months ago, we did, a couple of months ago, I guess it was in August, we did a class called Biz Schooling. And from that class, we helped, there were almost 20 people in that class, and it was hugely successful. It was an amazing training. And what we learned from it was that people needed more of that. So I'm talking to you today about the basics of running a business and homeschooling. And then I'm going to talk to you about what we've done and what we're offering now for those families that are doing that, if you are interested. So the number one thing you need to keep in mind if you are homeschooling and running a business, and it doesn't matter if your business is brick and mortar, if it's online, doesn't matter if you're a maker, whether it be, something tangible or a course creator, it does not matter. Across the board, what you need to know is that you need to plan your fanny off, and then you got to follow your plan. So why? Well, because if you are listening to this and you are running a business, chances are you feel a little chaotic. And there is this, when you're an entrepreneur, you sort of have this like wonky energy anyways. Like you're like, yes, I can do that. Yeah, I want to do that. Or, oh, I can fill that need. Or I can help that person with that. Or I love making these things. You have that energy of wanting to create on a regular basis. Like just because I'm a course creator and I'm a coach doesn't mean, like if y'all watched me, I love to paint. I love to do other creative things. So we're in this space where we're constantly wanting to create. Well, what we have to remember is that we also have to keep family and homeschooling in the place that it should be. And I'm not just talking about Waldorf homeschoolers. So I'm talking about homeschooling across the board. We have to keep those things in the right priority order so that we can be the best that we can, that we can achieve as business owners. We can't be great business owners and run thriving businesses if everything else is going to hell in a handbasket. Like we just can't. It's going to seem like it's all pretty on the outside and everybody's going to be like, wow, I don't know how they do that. But if they could just peek inside and see, then they would see that it's crazy. See, I have always worked to make sure that if somebody peeked behind the curtain at Waldorf Essentials, they got exactly what they thought they were going to get. They saw me planning and actually holding lessons. They saw a family that's connected. Doesn't mean we don't have struggles, but definitely I wanted you to always be able to pull back the curtain and go, okay, that's exactly how it should be, because it's the blueprint for what we promote. The blueprint for what we believe and what we know is possible. So if you are running a business or you're thinking about running a business and you're really trying to sort this piece out, I encourage you to step back and ask yourself, how's my planning? And if it's like in the garbage or you haven't done any, or you're like, oh, I hate planning, I just want to run by the seat of my pants, then you need to listen to me. Because if you can't get these things balanced, then you are going to constantly struggle. In the first early days, like even before Eric and I got married, I ran a business where I made math gnomes for years. I made gnomes for places like Bella Luna when they were owned by my friend Maya, like forever ago. I made things for other businesses online, and I was not in balance. I was a single mom, and I would make gnomes until 2 a.m. and then, go to bed and just sleep until they beat me up to get out of bed. And then I would stumble through lessons. And thank goodness at the time they were, my oldest was in 2nd grade and then 3rd grade and younger. But still, I was not doing anything that was sustainable. Because that's the whole idea, right? So when you are working with this idea of, hey, I want to own a business, generally it's because you want to make money. Or you want to figure out how you can make money at home rather than going out to make money, right? Or you're trying to bring a partner home. That when you're in that space, you have to ask yourself, what is sustainable? It is not sustainable to live on 4 hours of sleep. It's just not. It's also not sustainable for homeschooling to trick yourself into thinking, oh, I'll just do lessons and fly by the seat of my pants and it'll be fine. Not sustainable. Even if you are an unschooling mom, where you don't, I suppose if you're a radical unschooler and you don't care about whether or not their teeth are brushed or all of that, which we all know some of those moms, and that's okay if that's where you are. You won't stay there, because what will happen is, come about age 9, they're going to be like, hey, I want some rules. And if you don't give them to me, I am going to beat you up until you do. And so you want to, like, on the whole piece here, look at what is sustainable with homeschooling, with your family, with business. So you really want to have a plan in place. So what do I recommend for that? Definitely recommend our Planning for Peace journal, and I definitely recommend you do the whole thing with regards to planning. So why do I recommend that? Well, I created the Planning for Peace journal based on what I do. And we created it. This is the 3rd year that we ran Planning for Peace, and it just keeps getting better. And what I found was, when I started, when we wrote Planning for Peace, I was like, okay, I just made a blueprint for how we run life with our business. When this piece is in place, like the plans are in place, we can run our business and it's seamless. Why? Because I know what I'm doing every day. The school part is on autopilot. I can do it, and it lives in me, and it just comes out when it's needed, because I've done the work. I've done the work, and it lives in me. So if you are not at that place yet and you're trying to sort of sort that out, you've got to figure that part out first, because if homeschooling is important to you, then you have to really have that part like solid. It has to be solid. The other part that needs to be really solid, and actually probably should go before homeschooling, is your family. You've got to be solid in your partnerships and your relationships with people in your family. You've got to, if you're married and you and your partner are not on the same page, you've got to get on the same page. Running a business is so hard when you are not in agreement with one another. So, maybe you're running your business so that your partner can come home and eventually work in your business. When we did that, it was actually not planned. We thought, yeah, maybe someday, but Eric left his job at the newspaper because he got into a spot where he was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm done having this garbage in my life, because he was not struggling, but he was frustrated. And so when he came home to work in our business, it was completely unplanned, and we did fly on faith, and thank goodness it worked out. But if you have a plan for your partner to come home, your partner needs to be part of that plan. Y'all need to talk about it. It needs to be part of like a goal, and you need to sit down and make goals about it. And you need to decide, okay, how many widgets do I have to sell before you can come home with us? You have to sort of really have that family piece where you guys are connecting, especially if you want them to come home and work in your business. Because I tell you what, it turns your relationship like, oh my goodness. It changes it. It changes it in many, many good ways, but it refines you. It refines you. When Eric and I really started working closely together, we were still sort of newlyweds. We'd only been married for a couple of years, and actually for, about 2 years. And so we grew as a couple as our business grew. But if you are bringing dad home and, you've been married for 5 or 10 years and you're rubbing up against one another and things aren't going great, you're going to struggle. So you really want to have that relationship piece so solid. And you want to have the relationship piece with your children super solid. So that means that business is not always number one. Yes, you need to eat. And yes, that part needs to be like pretty high up. But oh my goodness, you have to be solid with your children. Otherwise, what in the heck are you doing this, Mom? Like, really? Why are you doing this? Why are you making toys for somebody else to send off if you're not willing to stop and make a set for your kids? That was like a huge aha for me when I was a maker. My kids were like, oh, Mommy, will you please just make a set of gnomes for me? What am I doing this for if I can't stop and make them a set because I'm so backed up on orders? So you really need to work out that sustainable piece and the relationship piece. All right, so I just want to say that after that first biz schooling training that we did in August, with all of the response we had and all the questions that we had, we took all of that in and we created something amazing. So we created a biz schooling membership, and it is only for those that run a business and homeschool. It does not have to be Waldorf homeschooling. In fact, very much so, we're supporting those that don't run a Waldorf homeschool. We're wanting to support homeschoolers in general. In fact, if you are in that realm, you're going to see us because we're going to start running ads to it this week. So this membership is, and I thought, should we just do a course? No, because a course is great. And our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program is fantastic. We constantly add to that. That's kind of like a membership course hybrid. But really and truly, we wanted a membership that you could come and you could stay and hang out. And then if you felt like that it was enough and you could run off and be done. We wanted, our belief and our plan is that you will have normal, consistent support, and not just for homeschooling. So we are super excited that what we're going to do is infuse a lot of our business training that we have learned over the years into this course. So teaching you how to set up your pixel, teaching you how to do advertising, teaching you how to do Facebook ads, teaching you how to sort of have the right SEO going on your site, teaching you, the legalities and all of those pieces that, that you have to sort of hunt in 15 places for. What we found when we started signing up with business coaches a couple of years ago was that they were all really helpful, but nobody homeschooled. And so they were like, okay, so you have 6 or 8 hours during the day while your kids are at school. And I was like, no, hold up the track. Our kids are with us all day long. So we have this whole other like lifestyle that people just don't understand. And so we really wanted to create something where people do understand, where we understand, we totally get it. We totally get that you might be stealing 4 hours here and 3 hours here and hopefully one day a week where you can get, truly dialed into your business. And so we wanted to offer support for that. And we also wanted to offer growth tools to help you build your business. So biz schooling is going to focus on that. And we will have quarterly content guides that come out that really dive into each one of those pieces: family, homeschooling, and business. And they're going to do things like the first content guide we just put together is all about sort of branding and knowing who your audience is, and how when you understand who that person is, who that ideal avatar is, how that truly changes how you show up in your business, how that truly changes how you advertise and what your products are and how you look at your audience. We're talking about how to build an audience. How do you go from, just having an Etsy shop to having a huge online presence? Like, how do you do that? So we're talking about those sorts of things in biz schooling and supporting your homeschooling at the same time. So things that we will have in biz schooling, we will have every quarter, we're planning to have somebody come and talk about some business topic. So the first quarter, we're going to have my dear friend Gina Williams come and talk about SEO, which I have to admit to you is such a weak spot of mine. We have been in business for 14 years and it is a weak spot. I know what it is. I know it's important, but I'm like, oh, it's so boring. Not boring. Not boring. When she brings it to you, I'm like, wow, really? So we're going to have that for our first quarter. And Erica's going to come and do some Facebook ads training and talk to you about how to set up your Facebook ads. And it's not scary. It's not scary. Often I think people are like, I'm just going to boost this post over here, boost that post over there. We're going to talk to you about how to really run ads that give you results. So if you're interested in biz schooling, I hope you will come join us. If you've got questions, drop us a note. If you are listening to this on podcast or download, drop me a note and I'm happy to get you the link. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. This is a fun topic for us. It's kind of like, we have been helping people with business for a long time, like here and there. Like we have clients who go, hey, and I'm running this business. So I go, oh, well, let's do this and this. We really found that with so many questions, it's just more fun to have everybody come together, and having it as a membership site then allows us to give you more insight and more of us and more of our expertise in this area, because we have been at it for a long time. We know what works and we know it doesn't work, and we know sort of those growing pains and the growing pains that come from, like trying to balance, and then, oh no, this over here is out of whack. So how do you get all of that so that it feels good? And so that then you can show up as your best self. So I think we're nailing that on a regular basis, and we want to be able to share that with you. So if you're interested, let us know, and I hope you guys have a great week.